let's talk about Uber Cash. It is
All right,
rolled out.
One of our viewers did it. He did it in Los Angeles. He did a trip in
Yeah,
Los
not too far
Angeles.
from you, huh?
Yeah, he did. It was like, and then I got this email literally, I don't know when it was, yesterday, I think yesterday morning. So Uber Cash Trip potential problems. All right, well, we talked about the Uber Cash Trip, that I'm not going to do it. You can opt out. FYI, Chris, I check my app every day. It's not getting toggled on.
Well, that's
automatically.
because you have a special. That's because you have a special app. Don't you remember when we were doing this little target from back in the day? Everyone's like, "Hey, I have a different version number than you."
Chris,
you're like, "Oh, the Sergio app, the special Sergio app."
Fucking Chris. Okay.
Here you go. You're opted out. But what about all the other drivers who opted out on it? Actually, no. You know what? Honestly, the reality is I don't think that they will switch it on from off to on unless it's an actual update. If there's an update, that's more chance when it's actually about to update. Clearly, you want to pay attention, but usually they do roll out weekly updates, or very often there's some sort of update to the app. After you do update the app, that is when I would look at it and see if it's toggled on or off. It seems like they'll mess with the settings more during that time.
Well, the other thing is,
like Microsoft.
maybe like, is this not available in, let's say, Orange County, but it's available in LA County, which it is. Then, if you change counties, maybe drive between the two counties, maybe it'll just toggle on and off. I don't know. So anyway, check the preferences, folks, because they have a tendency of turning this thing back on. Anyway, so this driver did a trip. He goes, "Hi, Sergio. I wanted to share something that happened on a recent trip here in Los Angeles. I picked up a ride through TripRadar, Chris. Cash trip through TripRadar. Cash Radar. And everything went smoothly. The passengers were visiting from Spain, and we had a nice conversation along the way. So far, so good. When I dropped them off, they asked about payment. I was under the impression that cash trips weren't active yet. Well, sir, they were obviously active.
Oh, yeah.
Accepted it. You got matched on TripRadar. I said, did you take a screenshot? Because I said, maybe on TripRadar it's not indicating that it's a cash trip. Because, there are tricks of the trade, you know what I mean? But he says, I didn't take it. I don't know. I just accepted it because it was an okay trip. I'm like, okay, fine. So it wasn't until, so cash trips weren't active yet, though, and thought it would be handled cashless, because he's thinking this is not a cash trip. He didn't even know. So it wasn't until I went to swipe and end the trip that the app told me to collect cash. Thankfully, the riders were honest and came back to pay. What could go wrong with any of this? That said, it's concerning because a dishonest passenger could easily walk away and leave us unpaid. Now, Uber says, don't argue with the rider. They will make you whole. You will have to chase it in Philippines somewhere, but they will give you your money back. I'm not sure. What frustrated me was not being clearly informed that it was a cash trip until the very end. But I may have missed a notification on the TripRadar screen. I will toggle it off now. Just wanted to give everyone a heads up to be extra careful with these cash trips. Okay, he sent me the receipt for that trip that he did. And here it is, folks. 8.23 miles, 15 minutes and 38 seconds, $8.82 he got paid. Now let's switch our eyes to the right. This is the breakdown, the way the cash trips break down. $8.82 for the driver. Rider was charged $35.20, Chris. Now we know why they want to do these cash trips, bro.
You know what? This is because they want you to be pissed off by seeing how much they're actually taking from the trip. The driver makes $8.82, and you got now a negative $26.38 trip balance.
That you got to pay back to Uber. That's, you just collected for Uber. So Uber, hey folks, what's happening? Time to wake up. Forget the AI bullshit. Here's the problem. Remember, we tell you guys the driver knows one take rate. Chris, what is that take rate, Chris? Rider
The
pays
take rate
100.
that all
Driver
drivers
makes
pay
30.
attention to what they make versus what the passenger paid. That's it.
Uh-huh.
Nothing else.
Isn't it right here? It's pretty clear, right? Is there a breakdown of CI, insurance, and city tax and bullshit? No.
I'm sure it's down further,
No, it's
but
not down.
that's
No. This is it. This is. I asked them that. I said, send me the total thing. It's not down further, Chris. This is it. This is how it shows up in cash chips. Okay.
Oh, even better.
Even
Now
better.
you know why they want cash.
Okay, so yeah, because we have no
Because
idea now. But that's okay. The idea is, what is Uber's take rate on this trip?
a
Because
lot.
on other trips, Uber is going to say, oh, about the commercial insurance and the city taxes and state taxes. Hey, Uber, why don't you break it down on these? Huh? Why don't you break it down on these? No?
You know what they say about cash? You don't tell Uncle Sam.
No. So let's do the math, Chris. $8.82 to $36 and what is it? 35.20.
Yeah.
So how much is that? Is that 70/30 for Uber? Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's 70/30 for Uber. Actually, it's more, 75/25 for Uber.
Yeah, it's about 75, yeah. But you know what's crazy is you know what's crazy? Now on top of this driver has to drive and make $26.38 more just to break back to zero.
Yeah.
You know what?
Wonderful idea, Uber.
You know what'd be fun? Just take here's the thing. Just take cash rides, pocket all the money, and have like a negative $5,000 balance.
So this is what I told this driver, and he goes, "Look, I can't do that, Serge. I'm a God-fearing Christian, honest man. I can't do it." I said this. So when you do finish the trip, right? They hand you the cash. In this case, $35.20. I go, F Uber. Why don't you just put $20 in there? Give yourself a $15 tip. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. So the driver can screw Uber that way. How's Uber going to know? How's Uber going to know? This driver could have tipped himself $15. If he put in $20 in there, on top of that, Uber would have sent this driver, he would have owed Uber a lot less. He would have owed Uber only $11.18 instead of $26.38, right? And how's Uber going to go chase those Spaniards, the tourists from Spain? What are they going to do? There's no credit card in there. How are they going to debit their account? What's going to happen? But I said, don't do it. Karma is a bitch.
I mean, they have. You're supposed to have a verified account. So if you have a verified account, they're probably
tourists from Spain. Tourists from Spain.
All right, here's the thing. Dealing with cash, no matter what, let's be real. There's some shitty passengers out there, and there's definitely some shitty drivers out there. And we all know it's going to pose problems across the board because, as we just said, drivers could underreport things all day long. And I know nobody here will because everybody's really awesome about that. But the reality is there's going to be a lot of drivers who are going to be, a couple dollars off the top or something. I see somebody put in about counterfeit money. That's the other thing. Counterfeit money. What happens if you, first off, look to see if it's motion picture use, because it's very easy to buy a bunch of fake money on Amazon or something for motion picture use. It says it there where it says the United States of America. So you can tell. And then, the other thing, you might have to invest in one of those freaking little pens. So you got to actually pen it out. So now you have to be responsible on top of it more, because what the big thing is, what happens if you take the cash and you say, hey, I got to go to the bank and put this money in. And so I put the money in. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't take this. This is counterfeit. What are you trying to do? And then now you got to go back to Uber. What are they going to? They're going to be like, who gives a shit?
I'm dealing with money, right? Go try to get that money from Philippines, guys. But the point I'm trying to make here is, Chris, this is a pretty nice deal for our people at Uber. 75/25.
Yeah.
Isn't that the complete opposite of what we started at?
Very much so. Actually, I believe the original was not the very original was 90/10. Wouldn't you love to be back at that point?
That will never happen. That won't happen. But
when you and I started, it was 80-20, and you were grandfathered in. So when they changed it, I think it was 75-25, or 70-30. I don't remember. That changed. We were all grandfathered in because we were already driving before that. That was in 2016. And I think they started like late 2016 or early 2017 or something like that. They changed it, and then they just changed it again and again and again.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck it. Everybody who's grandfathered in, you're not really. And then they went to upfront fares.
Well, for all the people watching at Uber, what is Uber's take rate on this trip, folks? Well, I feel like it looks like 75-25 to Uber to me, because there's no other breakdown. So I'm like, hey.
Well, exactly, that's how every driver's going to look at it. That's how every driver is going to look at it. Somebody had to pay 35%, or I mean $35. I only made $8.80. The rest went to Uber. That's what a driver is going to say. So they're going to be more pissed off because they're actually going to see that breakdown. Right now, they might not see it. They might be like, oh, like when a ride request comes in, you might say, oh, $8. You might look at a distance, you might look at time, who knows, and you say $8. Sure, I'll take it. Not realizing, how much they're actually paying.
We should charge Uber. We should charge Uber collection fee, something.
Service and handling.
Yes, exactly.
Like Ticketmaster. I'm an independent contractor, so I'm going to charge you fees on top of it. So
I mean, I just collected $35.20.
Handling fee, service fee, cash transaction fee.
Yeah, all kinds of shit.
By the way, that $26 that you took from me, it's slowly warped down. Now I only owe you $4.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, Sergio here with the Rideshare Guide. What do we say on Show Me the Money Club? Work smarter, not harder. If you aren't using the Solo app, which I have been for the past year and a half, you may be working a lot harder than you need to. Let's change that. Download the app, link your account where you can manage your income, track your expenses, as well as your taxes. Not only that, but you can plan by optimizing your time, make more money, and even guarantee your daily pay with guaranteed earnings. Download the Solo app today. Begin to work smarter, not harder. Link is in the description. Let's get back to it.
I mean, seriously, it's like, this is just a joke. And if you guys did not catch it when I read his email, the Spaniards in the car, the tourists, had a good time, got the ride, got out of the car, left. They left.
Yeah, but no. When he dropped them off, they did ask about the payment. So
yeah, but then,
they knew they had to pay.
He did not know. He did not know.
He didn't realize. Yeah. So this brings up another thing. What happens if you're not paying attention and you don't see that it's cash ride at the beginning? There should be somewhere on the screen, like at the bottom, that says cash ride. So you know the entire time.
Continuously. Right.
But here's seeing this receipt, seeing how it's 75-25, this makes me want to know, anybody else who's out there taking cash rides when it comes to Uber, check your receipts and send them to Sergio so we can see how much they're taking. Because my question is, are they taking more? There was somebody earlier in the comments, our Marca said when upfront fares went in, he noticed that the commercial insurance or the service fee that they took, or not service, but the amount that they took went up higher. So I said, send Sergio screenshots of your spreadsheets. And then, this makes me think, are they going to fudge the numbers more so where they can even take more? And so they might have a cash transaction fee that they're going to have on the other hand, where guess what? The cash transaction fee, now you're charging the rider more for the same ride if they would have just paid in it with a card. And that means the take rate's going to be higher like this, 75-25. So yeah, for all the people who may take cash rides, if you do or want to test this, take one for the team, then send your trip receipts just like this to Sergio, and we could see, is there a statistical difference between cash trips versus non-cash trips?
Yeah, do some trips. Look, for my money, this is knowing LA and knowing that time of the day, it's about 6 p.m. If the driver made $8.82 on this trip maximum would be priced about $22 or so for a regular X trip for the rider. This is an X trip, okay? I'm telling you, this is a cash cow for Uber. This is amazing amount of money. I mean, I hadn't seen 75-25 for a while. And look, how many red flags there are for this poor rider, okay? Tourist, Uber knows that. From Spain, Uber knows that. Oh, we'll just rip him. Uber knows that. We just pay the driver something that he will take. Uber knows that. And this is how you get to 75-25. Nice job, Uber. Take rates are going higher. And Daniel has a good point there. Whatever he said, I couldn't read it. But yeah, send me some. If you're going to look, I'm not against you guys doing cash trips. I'm not going to do it. But if you do it willingly,
you got to take one for the team.
Nope. I take all. Sir. I take for the team all the time.
Contributor that's in a cash town.
I ain't taking the team for this one. Period. I take for the team all the time. So this is the point. Uber's take rates are going to go higher or not. I probably can come up with a screenshot of a very similar receipt on a cashless trip. Cashless, where Uber breaks down, commercial insurance, city fees.
You know what? The problem is we can't actually go off that. You know why? Because the problem is we've all seen two trips that look the exact same, but they're vastly different in the amount paid to the driver, in the amount paid from the passenger. So even if you took an upfront fare versus something like this, that was, a very similar trip, you can't even compare it. The only way you can actually compare it is taking your upfront fares that are paid by card and transacted through Uber like that versus cash trips and see what the actual take rate would be that is different. So if the take rate is, let's say, 50-50, I'm going to be generous to Uber, 50-50 for an LA trip, which we probably know it's now 60-40 at this point. We'll just say 50-50. But then you're starting to see 75-25 on all cash trips. So that means then they're pocketing more money. They're charging the rider more money for using cash. And I would not put it past them to do something like that.
Okay. Okay, sir. Okay. My countryman. Email me, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. Okay. Gökhan Kazanç. Anyway, so that looks like a good take rate to me, Chris. I like it. Good job, Uber. Yep. The algo worked its magic on that one. Good job.
Oh yeah. As Mike Smith elegantly put it, this is only going to help people get more pissed off and put it into private ride territory. So, yeah, I have a feeling, like I say.
What is it? What is the passenger algo called on Uber? I forgot.
I remember.
Maybe next week I'll remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay, cool.
There's so many different things that they got. So many acronyms.
Yeah.
I mean, you got spinner times and other things. And
so good job, Uber. Algo worked its magic.
And some Explorer.
Yeah. Is that the cartoon thing that you're talking about? Cartoon game?
Yeah. The Explorer.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name?
Dora? Dora the Explorer. Yeah.
Dora the Explorer, yeah. There's those awesome acronyms. All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you get notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.